Congratulations for writing your audiobook or writing your book and getting ready to make it an audiobook. And if you're like me, I'm in the middle of recording 3 of these. I just recorded my entire Christmas trilogy, and I've got tons of chapters, 42 in the first book, 60 in this one, 70 something in book 3. So I really wanted to get this system down quick. And if you're like me, you went to the internet for a refresher on how to do it, and you found some kind of incomplete resources and some that were a little confusing. So that's why I'm making this one, to give you the ultimate 7-step system for how to record a good audiobook for Amazon.com and Audible and iTunes. Step 1, of course, is to record your chapters, assuming you've got it written, obviously, already. And you can get a good microphone if you want. I actually recorded with 2 microphones to decide which one I liked best. And sure enough, my expensive one, my $1,000 Sennheiser shotgun mic, came out best. So that's good. I feel justified in spending that money. But you don't have to do that. You can spend $20 and, or $200 and get a completely ample microphone. The most important thing, though, is to get a quiet recording environment. If you have a lot of extraneous noises going on behind you, there's not a lot you can do about that. When you're in a crowded place and there's people talking all over, you have these stereoscopic ears that can, in your brain, that can sort that out and focus only on what you want to listen to. But when all the sound is coming from the same speakers, you don't have that effect and you can't do it. So noise is really annoying. So you want to get a good recording location, maybe put up some foam to, stop the echoes in the room or whatever you're working with, and you can look online, learn all about that. Now, if you just have some background hum, just a little bit of consistent distant noise, you could do something about that. So for example, I've just selected a place where there's no talking, it's just the background noise, just the room noise, and I'm going to hit Shift P, and as it says on the screen there, you see it captured a noise print. And so if I want to apply this noise reduction to the entire thing, it'll take out only the sound here in the noise print. So click, and I'll show you that. This time I'll click Control Shift P. It opens up my noise reduction control panel, and you can play around with these and hit play and listen to how it sounds as you move these sliders around, and turn it off to hear the original recording. Oh, and before I do, actually, let me I also want to select my entire piece I want to apply that to, and now Control Shift P. And so you can listen to how that sounds and make sure it sounds good, because if you do this too much, it sounds horrible. It really sounds bad, so don't overdo it. All right, so enough said about recording a good recording. That is step 1. Now let's fix it up some. So for example, you notice all these big spikes, right? Well, I want to get rid of those, because if I normalize it with those on, it's going to make everything muddy, because it's trying to take an average of these high spikes, and the spikes are nothing. They're a little bit louder. You can hardly even perceive that with your ears usually. So I've got 2 steps 2 and 3, to get rid of that. And they're both here under Effects, Amplitude, and Compression. The first one is the dynamics processing, and then I'll show you the hard limiter as well. And you can also get here on your keyboard by pressing Alt-S-A-Y and Alt-S-A-H. Okay, I've already got this set up for basically the recording level I had. And you notice this recording's pretty quiet. It's, really the loudest common peaks are right down there around -20. That's pretty quiet. And we want it to be up at -3. So, but before I normalize that and make it louder, I'm going to get rid of these spikes. So here I've got these 3 dots, and you can click anywhere on this line and add another dot and adjust it. And I've got it set so this first one, which is -20, anything softer than that, I'm really not going to do anything to. It's basically 1 to 1. And then when you get to the second dot, anything below -12 decibels, which is, for this recording, actually I can move this way down, because I'm really not hitting anything until I'm going to move to -18. That'll be totally safe. think in some newer versions in CC, you can actually click on that and type in the number rather than dragging it with your mouse. So anything, well, we'll go to minus 14.5, that'll be fine. And I moved it over kind of close to the line, so it's not super dramatic. It'll be a 3-to-1. So in that range, it's gonna, anything below, between minus 14 and minus 20, it'll do a 3-to-1 reduction. And then above that, anything above that last point, this is this first point, it's going to do a more extreme. Well, it's 11-to-1, but I actually want that more. I want that at like 20 or 30-to-1. I want a really dramatic reduction just on those pops. Yeah, that'll do. Okay, and you can listen to that, make sure it sounds good, and then click apply. And I've already listened to this, so I know. You'll see these peaks come down just a little bit as we do. Okay, so that's a little better in control, but there's still a lot of peaks. And if I normalize now, it's going to make it really muddy and sound really bad. So I'll do the next one, Alt S, A, and then H for my hard limiter. And I've also got this one set. So now anything above minus 16, it's just going to cut it right off. And you can see here, minus 15, I could even go a little bit lower. I'm going to go minus 18 here. So it's just going to cut it right off, and you can sample that again and click apply. And you'll really see it get compressed now, where the sound is much more consistent. And actually sounds better this way. Okay, so now that we don't have those peaks anymore, we're ready to go on to step 4, which is the normalize to minus 3. So we're going to make it louder so like our peaks are at minus 3. And there's no, you can do Alt R to open up the favorites, but you'll actually have to click normalize to minus 3 with your mouse. There's not a shortcut for that. Okay, so now it's loud and nice. And now for the next step, I've got a lot of spots. For example, right here, I don't even need to listen to this to know that that's just a bunch of noise, like a cough or something like that. It's just mouth noises recording. And so I'm just going to delete that. But I'll actually go through and listen to the whole thing and really clean up the sound a lot. For example, this spot right here, I bet that's just a kind of a low noise I want to get rid of. So with my Band-Aid tool, I'll just clean that up and I'll go through. Now you don't want to do this before you do all this compression stuff, because otherwise, like when you normalize, it'll take a little sound that you didn't hear before and it amplifies it, and suddenly now you can really hear it. For example, this one, I don't know if you could actually hear this one. It's pretty faint, but I would not have heard that before I normalized it, and now it'll show up. So I'm just going to select that and just delete that whole little section. And all right, so once you get it all tidied up like that, now you're ready for the second to last step. We need to make sure this fits within the Amazon parameters. So here in my Amplitude Statistics tab, you can find that in the menus if it's not already open. I'll click Scan and make sure everything checks out. I'll show you the three elements here that are most important. First, there's the peak amplitude, and you notice it starts at minus 3.01, so minus 3 and below is great. And when we did that when we normalized it to minus 3. And then we want to look at our minimum, minus 64, and that'll do. The maximum for that is minus 60, so minus 64 is a little bit lower than that, so that's great. And then the third one you need to check is this total RMS amplitude. And look at that, it's minus 16. That's a little bit too loud. This needs to be between minus 18 and minus 23. So we need to bring this down at least 1.31 lower, right? So the way we do it is with everything selected, as I have right now. If you don't, then just do a Control A. and I'm going to click right here and say -1 point, I'll say -0.4, do it just a tiny bit extra. Hit enter, and we're dropping everything just a little bit quieter. So now I'll scan again and we'll verify that we're within range now. And there it is. So our peak is -4, no problem. That's quieter than -3. Our minimum is -66, great. That's quieter than -60. And now our total RMS is -18.09, so within range of -18 to -23. Good to go. And this one, we're going to save it, and we'll specifically save it as an MP3. I'm actually going to save it as a WAV because I'm going to come back through and do all this cleanup on all my files. First, I'm walking through all of them at the same time and running them through the other processes, so I'll come back to that. But once I do finish it, now it's time to make it an MP3. I recorded it in a WAV, and that is a much higher quality, so I'm going to keep it as a WAV until this last step when I can do it as a more lossy MP3. So I'll do FA and then A to save as, and change it from a WAV to MP3. And then just make sure it's 441 kilohertz. If it's not, then you can click change and you can change that there. But I'm already good. So click OK. And now I have my MP3 ready to upload to Amazon. So I'm going to close this file and Alt FC, and my next one pops up. And let me just show you one last time how quick this can go once you get yourself all your steps all wired down. So Alt SAY, and this is in the same recording range as the other, so I'll click up apply. My dynamics processing. Next I'll do my hard limiter to get rid of more spikes. Alt SAH. And again, I'm happy with where that's at, so click apply. And now Alt R, and I will normalize to -3. And at this point, I will listen to it, make sure it sounds good. If not, I can Control Z back and tweak those settings better. And I'll go through and clean up everything. And then finally, when it's ready to save, I'll do an FA and change it from a WAV to an MP3 and save it. And that's it. So good luck with your book. I hope it goes great. If you've got any tips on any of this or any reactions, I'd love to hear your comments down below. And hope you make $1 million. I hope your book entertains the world and makes it a better place. See you next time.